6'8", giant defenseman. I guess they are not re-signing Logan Stanley. Not that anybody was really expecting that. But Louis Crevier, a part of the trade that sends Bowen Byram to the Chicago Blackhawks. Good morning, it's Jeremy and Joe. Jeremy's off today. Owen's off today. We had the 11-day power play last night. It was a great time. You can still donate. Go to 11daypowerplay.com. You can search Team WGR. Or you can go to the player page. You can find me there. You can find Owen there. And we're still taking donations. They're still playing hockey down at Harbor Center for a while still. And it was a one-goal game throughout the night last night. So if you did stop by, I know we had a few people that did. Hopefully you got some entertainment out of it. We got some celebrations on the ice.
Yeah, how did that go? I was going to ask.
Derek Kramer, that man loves a celly.
I knew it. What did he do?
He didn't do anything crazy this year. There was no, surfing on the stick or throwing anything up in the air. I think, unless I missed it. I don't think I missed it though at any point. Yeah, the quad muscles are sore this morning. So this is a great morning though to have. Like just sitting down talking about the Byram trade. Like what a godsend that was.
Couldn't have been better
last night.
Couldn't have been better.
Oh, I cannot wait for the show tomorrow. I love this trade so much for the Sabres. Everybody loves this trade for the Sabres. I mean, The Athletic, ESPN. All the trade grades you've seen are A's or A pluses. If they're doing A pluses, it's an A plus.
Yeah, I saw an A plus and then like a D for Chicago.
Yeah,
so just not great for them all around.
Yeah, it does though. It does not make them better right now, but whatever. I not totally whatever. You want them to, if they're gonna lose Alex Tuch. And there was some reporting yesterday, Darren Dreger, and there was also a little bit on sign and trade.
I saw that, yeah.
That Tuch, he's probably going. He's probably going somewhere else. Seattle continues to get mentioned. And we're reaching a point now where we're hearing about, all right, well, if they're really still this far apart, then we're talking about a sign and trade. And you're not getting much in a sign and trade. It was a fifth for Radish in Toronto. I don't know. Are you going to get a third for Tuch? It doesn't even really matter to me. You're just getting a low-level lottery ticket to trade his rights somewhere else. It'll be really interesting what they put on the ice opening night, and we can't know what that's going to look like because how much more is going to happen throughout the remainder of the week. If they just sit with what they got and they use the 4th pick and they use the 20th pick, then everyone should feel great about the future of this organization and the future of this talent pool. But they won't have a Tuch replacement. And I am very skeptical that they'll have a Byram replacement. I'm interested in this Louis Crevier character that's going to be joining them on the blue line. But him being what is he replacing? What are you looking to replace in Bowen Byram? Bowen Byram was not worth the 4th overall pick. But he also is not nothing to replace. He was a 22.5-minute-a-night defenseman that played number 2 power play, played shorthanded, was excellent for you in the first round of the playoffs, and gave you a certain type of defenseman that was perfect for the way the Sabres played. Mm-hmm. The Sabres play, the river hockey signs all around us. They wanted to play up and down the ice. They want their defensemen to be active. Now, they also made steps in their own end this year. And I think Byram was fine this year. His even strength defensive numbers are totally fine. And the offensive part of his game, being dynamic, skating, he has a great shot, a good finisher for a defenseman. And that was proven last year in the playoffs, 4 goals in 13 games. I think he tied the Sabres record for a postseason with goals scored from a defenseman.
Yeah, he was up there with one-timers taken, too.
One-timers,
yeah,
right?
He was good.
He is a guy that can score goals for you on the blue line, can move the puck. Is he as good at moving the puck as Dahlin is? No, but few are. He's perfect for the way the Sabres played last season. And the long journey to figure out who's Owen Power's partner going to be. You might have felt like you finally found your answer on that. Because Dahlin, when Samuelsson is going good, Samuelsson is playing with Dahlin. Those two are together. They were together in the 22-23 season when they almost made the playoffs, and then Samuelsson had his issues, injury, play went down, and they separated a bit. Last year, they get back together, and it's excellent. Power played more minutes with Henri Jokiharju in his career than anybody else going into last year. I mean, it's probably still true. We've constantly wondered who would be that guy for Owen Power. And Byram got here and played with Power, and it did not go well. But then last season, they put them back together, and it did. And they had an excellent season, the two of them. And now Byram's gone. And we're back to square one a little bit with who's playing with Owen Power. The good news about Owen Power, he's a great player, and he's only getting better. He was amazing in the playoffs, playing through injury at the end of that Montreal series. I had as much faith in him as any other player on the team not named Rasmus Dahlin. He was locked in. He was calm. He was, that was a difference that I saw in Game 7. I was in the arena, 100 level, they were right down in front of me, and I remember thinking at the end of that third period, with all the anxiety and all the stress, every time Byram touched the puck, he never really had a big mistake. He never had a bad turnover that I remember, and it never really cost them. But every time he had the puck, felt like I was just a little bit more stressed out. Just, a little bit more panicky, a little less sure of where to go with things. A little more panicky, especially when he was being pressured. And again, he did fine, and it never cost them. Power, I felt like when he had the puck, there was a confidence and a coolness to him that eased me. Power would get the puck, and I'd be like, let me take a breath for a second. Because I feel like I know nothing bad is going to happen here.
Yeah, it's like a safety blanket.
Yeah, even with a guy draped all over him. He's fine. He'll make the right decision.
And in years past, that wasn't the case.
Right. Sometimes, yeah. And in that game, it definitely was true that he was the guy that you want him to be. And he obviously sets up Dahlin. I mean, of course, Power has stepped up. And I feel like with all that being said about him, I feel like he's at a point now you could put anybody with him and he's going to play well. If you wanted to open the season with Zach Metza as his partner, I feel like you'd do fine. If you want it to be Louis Crevier, I feel like Power is going to do fine. And he might be at a point where he can really lift up the guy that's with him. But that doesn't mean I don't want a good player next to him. And I'm not sure how good Louis Crevier is because, yeah, he had a better year last year, and he was exposed to a bigger role. But it's a projection that he can just step in and play with Owen Power for an entire season and have that go well for you. It's the same type of projection, maybe even a less likely projection than you would have been making with Michael Kesselring a year ago, which was the same thing. All right, the role went up a little bit in Utah, and he's big and can move, and there's some skill here, and I see some tools that make me think, yeah, the Kesselring, he should be a top 4 defenseman in the league. And then he got here, and he wasn't. Injuries, I know, but he wasn't a top 4 defenseman. And sure, Crevier at his size, let's see, maybe he can do it. I'm not betting on it, though. There are excuses. Bad team, tough assignment, a lot of tough matchups where he's going out against top players on the other team. And that could be why, I pull up his charts at Evolving Hockey, and there's a lot of red. And red's bad. Red is the bad color. Blue is good.
As it is.
Blue is good, and there's not a lot of blue. There's some, but not a lot. I'd just be skeptical that he's going to play a full season with Owen Power, and we're going to feel like that's good enough.
I see him as the Logan Stanley replacement, upgrade a little bit, right?
That's where I would hope you're getting an upgrade over Logan Stanley.
Sure.
I feel like there's a good chance he is just Logan Stanley.
Yeah.
And that's not a problem. He's the third piece, fourth piece even, to a trade in which you're getting the 4th overall pick which is a steep overpay by Chicago. You're getting a second, which to me is whatever. And then you're getting a $4 million credit, basically, for Chicago taking Jordan Greenway off your hands. And I can just plug in Kozak at $800,000 to his spot and save a bunch of money that I can use on other things. That's the value of the trade. So, yes, there is something to replace in Byram. They had arguably the best top four in hockey a year ago. And right now, maybe they have the best top three. But you cannot tell me they have right now the best top four in the league. But I don't know that they're done. What's next? Are they going to go try to trade for Connor Hellebuyck? Are they trying to acquire a goalie? Because in the last 24 hours, we have Kevin Weeks talking about Bobrovsky and the Sabres. We have Hellebuyck as an idea. He's been connected a couple of times to Buffalo. Chad DiDomenicis mentioned that maybe the Sabres have poked around on him. To what extent, we don't really know. And that Hellebuyck, it's getting realer and realer. Every single report you see is like, that is a real trade that's going to happen at some point. The noise is getting louder. So are they doing a goalie move? They probably need a Tuck replacement or somebody that you could sell as veteran player, could play with Tage, could play somewhere in the top 9. Where does fourth defenseman now enter in that equation? Like, third pair, I'm good. Third pair, I've got Crevier, I've got Timmins, and I've got Metza. And if one of those three have to play in the top 4, my top 3 is so strong, I could get away with that. But if they feel like, no, those are bottom pair guys, we'd like to have another guy that could play 20 minutes a night, then I don't think that player's on the team. And I wonder what type of asset they would use on that trade. I don't think that is pick number 4. Unless, I'll throw one idea out there. It's a big idea, but, you know, we're looking at Jarmo Kekalainen and his history. It's what you do in sports, right? Like, a guy shows up to run your team. We do it in football. Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane come from Carolina. What do we expect? They're just going to get all the Panthers. And guess what happened? They got all the Carolina guys.
They did.
And, you know, actually it hasn't happened as much this offseason with the Bills, where here comes the Denver coaches, right? You get
Jim Leonard
and Pete Carmichael. And let's bring in a bunch of former Broncos. That has not happened a lot. Even though I thought we might get it, we haven't. Will we get a bunch of former Columbus guys? That's why I thought, like, hey, maybe Jarmo wants Patrick Laine on a cheap deal because he made a big trade for Laine when he was in Columbus. Bobrovsky popping up in rumors. Well, there's a connection. Bobrovsky was in Columbus when Jarmo was there. And Jarmo drafted Zach Werenski. Now, that's a monster idea. He is not fourth defenseman. He is, like, in line with Dahlin. And, I mean, you could have a super pair.
That would be cool.
I don't feel like you need to have a defenseman that good. But, I don't know, the 4th overall pick kind of opens up a lot of possibilities. And why I mentioned Werenski is not just I'm just picking out a guy from Columbus. There are, you know, of course, a lot of reports about him potentially wanting out from the Blue Jackets as well. So, a lot of big ideas this summer. The NHL, it's kind of lined up perfectly, where the Sabres have all these assets, they're good, and there's so many star players that might want out that I'm really hopeful that they'll get one of them.
Bobrovsky, just to sit on that for a second, the money he wants, I could never see that happening here. With the Jarmo connection, right? Like, you could get him for a season, maybe. Not
at the price that he's asking for a 6-year deal.
He wants
from Florida.
Yeah,
no, thank you. And if I'm anybody, I'm not doing that. I know he's probably not playing all 6 years, and there's retirement pieces of that. But no, like, the more interesting part of them being connected to Bobrovsky and even Hellebuyck a little bit. And there's this rumor yesterday, it's Dave Pagnotta, the 4th period. I haven't seen it from anywhere else, but that they're listening on Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. I don't know how true that is, but I just got a lot of smoke right now about goalie. And I kind of thought they would just run it back.
Mm-hmm.
Unless maybe they got Hellebuyck. And I don't know, all of that together kind of sounds like they're open to more ideas than just, well, the best goalie in the world is available. Sure, I'll do that. This is more, no, you're looking for somebody that you might trust more to be your number one, your 1A, pairing with others. And Luukkonen makes $4.75 million. Like, if somebody is going out the door and you're bringing in a big name on the other end of it, you know, not that Lyon is necessarily has to be better than him, but Lyon makes $1 million.
Yeah.
And Luukkonen makes 4.7. So anyways, a lot of big things that can happen, and lot of big ideas that are now feel more possible because the Sabres have this pick, 4th overall. Take Ron's phone call in a moment here, but if you missed it in the last segment, I just want to reiterate, this is not a pick that often shows up right away and produces for you. That does not mean, this is not me saying that you should trade this pick. I've said earlier this morning, there are very few players in the league that I would be willing to trade the 4th pick for. But that does not mean it's going to help you right away. Of the last 12 4th overall picks in the NHL, only one has stepped in right away and played a full NHL season. Brady Tkachuk. That's it. Scored 22 goals. Most of these guys showed up after 1 year, like Marner and others. They played one more year wherever they were, and then they showed up. Cale Makar, Luke Hughes, Shane Wright. Those are 3 4th overall picks that took 2 years to show up. So you're probably talking about a player that will be a great player, but it's going to be 1 year before he gets here. There is a small chance he could show up right away, and there's also a small chance that he could take 2 years to show up. That, to me, is where you sit if you look at the history of the 4th pick. Let's go to Ron and Alden. What's up, Ron?
Hey, good morning, guys. One, I'm shocked we did not have to get the 20 pick. Normally, you see on trade, the first are always swapped, but that's amazing there alone. Let's just say we don't trade the pick. I mean, he probably traded for the pick so we can use it, but let's just say he doesn't trade. Who do you feel, because normally we're always in the spot of who we're taking in the top 5 or 6 anyways, so it's really like another year. Who do you feel like, if I don't even know the draft, so who would you think the Sabres could get, or do you hope they draft if they make the pick? And I ain't going to listen. Again, I haven't looked at this draft at all because there's no reason to.
Yeah.
So now there is. All right, thanks, guys.
Yeah, thanks, Ron, for the call. Yeah, like I know enough to know the names before yesterday, but not really who they are, what the stats say, what the size even of the players are. And there's been a lot more of that for me in the last 12 hours. I just refreshed the YouTube chat, actually, and the name I was just going to bring up is, James just mentioned him. Viggo Bjork is a small player, 5'9", that I've seen mocked to the Sabres a couple of times in the last, 12 hours or so. And when I read about him, he reminds me of Benson. There's like ultra compete and winning battles despite his size and skill on top of it. He is a center. I mean, center/winger. I'm sure, you could get both out of him. So that's one name. Caleb Malhotra is another. He's a center. The defenseman ideas are there as well. Chase Reed is a right shot defenseman. And then the Swedish kid that it doesn't feel likely to fall to you, but if it did, like, holy cow, Stenberg. Ivar Stenberg, Frölunda. Like, that probably is the dream outcome, and maybe there's an avenue for him to fall. San Jose takes a defenseman, and Vancouver takes Manny Malhotra's son, takes Caleb Malhotra because his dad's the head coach. Like, if that happens and he falls to you, home run. Could probably not go better. But I'm not entertaining that as being all that likely. Oh, to be fair, though, I didn't think it would be all that likely the Sabres get a top 5 pick for Bowen Byram a day ago. And here we sit with the 4th overall pick, the draft in Buffalo. It's a lot of fun. Jarmo did great. Jarmo, you got to give it to him. His first trade, big trade.
Everything it was cracked up to be.
I don't know how you could, what you would even say to criticize it.
Well, and even
there's nothing you would. The only thing you could say, and this would be one way of not giving him as much credit, because this is kind of how I look back on Kevin Adams' last big deal. Like, Kevin Adams trades J.J. Peterka and he gets Josh Stone, and I look back at that trade and think Kevin Adams did great in that trade, but you were forced to do it. If J.J. Peterka did not want out, you probably were not making that trade. You were going to sign J.J. Peterka.
Right.
So, yes, you did a great job. And from a position of weakness, when other teams know you got to trade the guy, you were able to get something of real value. So, like, that's a good job.
Mm-hmm.
This is kind of the same, right? Like, Byram wanted out. Byram at least wasn't staying. Sorry, he wasn't maybe demanding a trade, but you knew he wasn't going to sign. That kind of forced you into a deal that maybe you didn't want to make. I'm not sure they ever call or talk to Chicago if Byram just says in their first meeting about does he want to extend, like, okay, yeah, I'm in. Yeah, you want to sign me for 8 years, $10 million per year? I'm in. I'll do it. I'll be your second pair defenseman for the next decade. They're probably not making this trade if that's how this conversation goes.
Mm-hmm.
So you're only even getting into this game because the player has pushed you into it. So that would be one area where you could say, like, this is not probably not a proactive move. This is reactive. But like Adams getting Doan, you should give some credit, a good amount of credit to, all right, even if that's true, you got to get something. You got to be able to make it work for you. And that happened with the Peterka trade. Thank goodness that Doan was the player he was, or else it would not have looked that way, looking back, because he was the throw-in piece. And this deal, immediately after it happens, feels like, yeah, all right, you were pushed into it, but you did great. And you could not have imagined, I think, doing any better.
No, you just took him for a walk. And you saw Jarmo try to be kind of aggressive at the deadline, and you're like, okay, like he's finally going to put a stamp on this team at some point. And, I mean, you're starting to see that start to happen now.
And that is the dream and the hope, I think, that is attached to this trade. It's not just that they get the 4th overall pick. It is adding to the cupboard of assets that they have and a GM that has a history and a background of making big trades and was trying to make big trades at the trade deadline, that you should feel comfortable dreaming about all these big ideas because of the guy that's in charge. And he just added the 4th overall pick. And maybe he makes the 4th overall pick, but now he's more willing. Maybe you're more willing to trade Konsta Hellebuyck or Noah Ostlund now, right? Like, I'm not telling you I want them to trade Hellebuyck, but let's use Ostlund for it. I love Ostlund. Don't want to see them move him. But if you need him in a deal to get a star, a week ago, you might have been on the fence about it. Now, if I can just immediately replace Ostlund in the system with Caleb Malhotra or somebody else like that in the top 5, I'm more comfortable making that trade than I would have been before. Because I can, that young star center, potential star center, that I already have a couple of others, I could just immediately replace him because I have pick number 4. Sal, when we come back, Sal on this and also his stadium visit yesterday as we get closer to the opening of the new stadium. We talked to Pete Gwelly yesterday, and he talked about maybe some test events and some opportunities for fans to get in there that don't have tickets, season tickets, or might not have an opportunity to get to the blue and red game. So we'll see. Waiting on that. And Sal on his experience, plus this trade when we come back here in W.